Welcome to another commentary done by Diggity on behalf of StarCastTV. Upper right-hand corner, we have Light starting as the White Terran. Bottom right-hand corner, we have Queen starting as the Orange Zerg. This is on Largo, so we have a little bit faster spawn locate, well, a little bit closer to rush distances, which could mean more aggressive Zergling play, potentially. Could also mean more aggressive Marines in the early game off the 2 racks. Might force the additional sunken colonies. Adds a little bit of additional flavor. But the other reason I like it is the other reason I find Largo entertaining is yeah, you have these additional bases out here, but you really need to hold the center of the map to make that happen. And so the game tends to get decided off 3-base play overall, and we'll see if that factors into strategies one direction and another. I don't know if that's going to encourage, at least that's what I've observed as a commentator through a lot of ZVT on Largo. If my brain is functioning properly, I don't see a lot of games go late on this map. And I'm wondering if that might encourage a little bit more adaptation towards 2 hatchery Mutalisk all-ins or more aggressive mid-game Zergling plays, things along those lines. We'll have to see. Overlord first build, and it looks like additional build, I assume, to play an 11 hatch here. That would be the safe thing to do. We do see that 12th supply dropping. Oftentimes the 11 hatch will be built to provide a little bit more defense. Hatchery the natural expansion on 12 though. Barracks being constructed. An initial drone scout making its way out. SCV scout out as well. Looks like they're... Well, let's see if there's an adjustment. I don't know if that Overlord spotted that SCV or not. We'll see if the drone shifts positions as soon as that SCV enters the field. Overlord is going to spot it. Yeah, going to reposition towards top right. Spawning pool down. One day I want to see an SCV go for a gas steal just to see the antics. I think the Zerg can just recover by grabbing the gas at the natural expansion, but it'd be entertaining. Kind of a haha, I can do this too in one of these matchups. Spawning pool about halfway finished. SCV definitely wants to try to see the timing of that gas grab. In the meantime, drone harassing the SCV building the command center opposite side of the field, forcing another SCV off the line. But that should be all the information Queen needs. After this is just being aggressive. In-base 3rd hatchery for Queen. In the meantime, gas around the 250 mark. So, still suggest a Mutalisk opener. First Marine should usher that drone away. I like kind of the tail waggle of the drone. I wish they, instead of the up and down drone tail movement, they still had the back and forth. I think that would just be adorable. Marine pushing its way across the field. Initial Zergling should make it think twice. The drone actually really wanting to take care of that SCV though. With 3 hatchery play that allows for... I don't think that's just a play on Largo. This is something I've seen a lot of shift. There's a lot of shift in the ZVT meta at the moment. Zerg are trying to figure out something different rather than just planting that 3rd base out in the field. And this 3rd base is very exposed. So I think this is a good map to do it with, where you can't just plant lurkers on the ramp and guarantee an additional base. 3 Marines on the high ground. The SCV is somewhat exposed, going to force them off the ramp. Might lose a Zergling or 2 as a result of this. Still trying to pocket them out. Yeah, loses at least a Zergling on the edge. Still no front door seal though. And with 3 hatchery play, spotting the 3 hatchery play, knowing that that results in a little bit of a heavier troop count in the mid game, I would expect to see Light adjust a little bit and go for a little bit more cruft in the front. Instead, he's gone eBay first with 2 barracks, eBay into Academy, and he's leaving the 2 barracks. They're not building anything right this second. So is this going to transition into 5 racks style of play? Be interesting to see. Sees the second gas at the natural expansion from Queen. Also gets the layer completion timing. We'll see how Light plays it from this stage on. I'm a little bit surprised to see Light not go for the Academy first style of play instead of going eBay first. And I'm not sure if that was an error in his build order or just something he's experimenting with himself. Speed just about finished. The Spire was spotted. Light isn't the typical player to go for... He'll more often than not sit back and just try to absorb Mutalisk spreads. Some Zerglings are making their way out in the field, revealing that they do have that speed upgrade. Marines getting yet another Zergling. But this is, yeah, some trouble right now because, again, with that exposed natural, this is allowing the Zerglings to maybe get some concavity around the Marines, or as you can see them getting a little bit spread out. Some nice micro, thereby light altogether to pick off 2 Marines and really not lose a lot else for it. Medics out there are going to try to push the troops back, staging a firm statement right there. Creep Colony out of respect on the front. Oh, the Spire just about finished. This is Comsat going to see that Spire complete. So should see turrets constructing in not too long from now. 3rd barracks up, factory down very, very rapidly. And a 2nd refinery as well. I'm wondering if this is going to be a mech switch potentially. We'll have to see. So, or maybe even some Valkyrie play. We got 3 turrets at the natural. 2nd gas. More Marines filtering in. So we got the 3. I've seen some players do it off 3 racks play with some flexibility. Light's not usually the one to do that though. Usually he is, again, kind of the more safe standard macro player. Queen grabbing the bottom left-hand base with 8 Mutalisks in flight. So now the 8 Mutalisks joining up with the previously constructed, I want to control click one of these Zerglings, but having trouble doing so. It's hard to separate them from the Mutalisks. There we go. 8 Zerglings, 8 Mutalisks right there. Pulling off the Muta just to see what he's up against. Did spot the 3 racks, which given him an idea of the troop concentrations he's going up against. And we'll see if he... So he does have the Queen's Nest and the Hydralisk and the Hydra Den down. With the 10 Mutalisks in between, there are 3 turrets here with the 4th along that edge, so Light not messing around with that natural expansion defense. Shelling up very, very tight in between. Science facility constructing. The Mutalisk diving. Got a Marine for their effort. Lost a Mutalisk in turn, and that's a trade Light will be happy to exchange all day. What this is doing, though, is this is keeping this bottom left-hand base safe and in Queen's control. We'll see if Light able to get separation, actually, between the Marines, or sorry, between the Zerglings and the Mutalisks. And push that back a little bit. Critically, well, look at this. Big drone transfer, bottom left for Queen. Wow, I was not paying attention. He really pushed the drone count. So now, noticing how passive Light was playing, he just said, okay, if you want to play that way, let's just go for rapid macro. All sorts of... So we got 3 drones bottom left already. Very heavy saturation overall. The 2 creep colonies have not morphed bottom right. Light staging with 2 pockets of troops. Still in a very defensive slot, but he needs to get a move on. So he's got a 20 supply lead right this second, but that could shift very, very quickly. The Defiler Mound already constructing. Lurker Tech just about finished. And honestly, at this stage, with Hydralisks already waiting, bottom left... Huh, for a second there, I thought the music died. It just decided to reset for whatever reason. Light checking the 3 o'clock. But Queen just has a massive troop count, engaging, able to wipe out that group of Medic Marine. Going for the bonus here. Science Vessels walking their way out, but Irradiate not quite finished. Looks like Queen wasn't quite aware whether it was finished or not, backing off with the Mutalisk he had. Now Light going for a hard press towards that natural expansion. However, the 2 Sunken colonies are complete. We have Lurkers there as well. The Defiler and Creep Colony, sorry, Nidus Canal up as well. I don't see the Defiler out on the forward field. Looks like some Irradiates dropped on the Mutalisk. Decent separate, though. So the Mutalisk still going to be in play. Consume not yet researched. Overlord on top of the lurkers right there to prevent additional irradiates. And some lurkers just waiting to burrow bottom left. And still some Zerglings out midfield, just going to go ahead and pick off some units. Might halt a third base from light, which is scary considering how big Queen's macro potential is right here. Mutalisks flying back out. Is there another irradiate ready? No. So the Mutalisks still potentially in play. Queen's still playing it defensively, not wanting to lose any more Mutalisks than necessary. Dropships now swarming in for light. For the follow-up is going to try to... So he's got some Marines planted bottom left. Comsatting, seeing nothing. The Lurker's going to have to retreat. And a massive drop now into the main. Queen also losing an Overlord, so he's in the red at a desperate moment. Some Marines getting pile drive, but the Lurkers are there. There's only a single Lurker remaining to try to defend this. Defiler's still not in place. The Zerglings sweeping up. Another grouping of Marines and medics surfacing towards the natural expansion. It looks like that was fairly well defended. A few drones, a good number of drones were taken out, but the base remains salvaged. And honestly, I think a Radiator Trick going to try to wipe out some additional drones, however, of Queen. Queen pushing them through the knives to defend. Both science vessels, ooh, take some hits. I'm not sure how that science... Look, I must have killed that additional drone, but that science vessel needs to be careful because with all those dropships, the count somewhat low. Might be sufficient, though, because Queen now sub 30 drones overall, and man, that Eraser's still getting kills. 9 kills overall on that science vessel. Now, with not a lot of... continuing to apply the pressure, he's like, okay, you probably just built a round of drones to try to defend this. So let's just keep up that action and make sure that you can't recover. A continued press and a double expansion behind this from light. Also some Marines protecting to deny that natural expansion in the left-hand corner. Another hatchery being dropped. Queen's not out of it, but he is definitely got a leg, equivalently a leg broken, probably an arm broken, and if he's got a crutch, one of those is broken too. Some Defilers in the main to protect against additional potential drops. Scourge hunting the science vessels, but we do have 2 more out. Man, how did he light afford all of that? In between, just feels like he got science, the dropships out of nowhere and still kept the science vessel count still fairly high. Dangerous situation for Queen because he's only got he's got a minimal defense force. That Nidus Canal could drop very, very rapidly. Defiler getting picked off bottom right. Comsat the natural expansion. So he's got to defend a lot of territory. Rebuild. Oh! Light losing a science vessel there. Some additional radiates drop, keeping the Defilers down. And I think those dropships all completely made it out, so they're still a factor out in the field and gotta be on Queen's mind. Not that Light needs to expend it. Is Light gonna go for a ramp? Pushing up the ramp. Only a single Lurker there. Although the Marine's having some trouble. It's gone. Another science vessel taken out, but not a lot of defense here yet. Rapid defensive Dark Swarm going to push the Medic Marines back, but there's still a lot of room for them to run around. Can easily take out the gas. Looks like they're still trying to get towards the drone line. Now backing off and going to go ahead and engage the gas as they're able. But a simultaneous defensive attack force, just... That's a great statement from Light. He's just keeping that factory above, and there it is. Secondary drop moving in. Scourge able to take out one of them. Still a few troops landed. More Radiate dropping there. And the Firebat's still not evicted. Unfortunately, it looks like they're in hold position. Now they're being pulled off hold position, but the medics weren't able to heal that up. So that gets cleaned up. It looks like the science vessel count actually dangerously low now for Light. Does he have any science vessels out? He's got 1 science vessel out, which means Lurkers could be a problem. He's got 2 science vessels out. Needs to regrow that count rapidly. So Queen somehow stabilizing. He's still sub 40 drones, but it looks like all 3 gas are well, he lost that gas bottom left. Moving to go ahead and take that 4th gas now. The problem with the follow-up, though, for Queen is Light has grabbed 2 additional bases, and he has got all sorts of barracks, additional ones coming online, and a 3rd starport in his base. Just has a swarming economy. Defense Matrix Marine initially linebackering there, but you can see Light doesn't even care about losing these troops right this second. It feels like forcing a cancellation, which is massive. That might be it now for Queen. He needed that fourth gas desperately to keep up with Light. Light now has double the supply. One feather, though, in the hat is his Queen has been able to just completely assassinate these science vessels with just scalpel attacks left and right on these science vessels, which has kept that count relatively low. Ultralisk Cavern is in place nevertheless. I don't know that there's sufficient gas really, though, to expend. Still Lurker's Defilers needed to just hold the ramps. And we have the battle cruisers also making their way out, which is going to tax Queen's gas supply even further. Few Zerglings able to sneak out to the bottom corner, but I don't know that there's going to be a lot of troops that are able to make it out of any position shortly. Marines stimming in, only a single sunken colony there currently. That Nidus Canal at risk. Spore colony had just finished. There is a Dark Swarm. The Nidus Canal is gone though. Queen also in the red. It looks like some of the units were cleaned out in the bottom left-hand corner simultaneously, however. Science Vessel is going to get wiped out, so small win there, but Queen still in the red. Still needs to defend his natural expansion against everything that's here. There's a battle cruiser making its way this direction. And Light honestly can just walk back and defend. He still needs to keep these science vessels alive. Been losing, just having them get obliterated. So bottom left is secure for Queen, but he still hasn't gotten anything in place. Another command center is in place top left. SCVs transferring in mass to make up for the lack of resources in the main. A slew of battle cruisers being fielded, and I think, yeah, there's just not enough for Queen. I am wondering, is this just all SCVs right now for Light? So he's got this grouping, he's got that grouping of medic. Okay, there they are. They're in the dropships, peeling in. Some Zerglings have managed to field through. There's already 2 bunkers, however, to deal with them. Oof. Light just looking really, really strong in this match. Plague dropped, but there's not Hydralisks or anything else to help clean it up. So once again, a gas denied. That's putting Queen down to 2 gas, and he's having to utilize Scourge to deal with these battle cruisers that have been moving in. And he doesn't even have sufficient gas to get the Scourge in the air to deal with that. There's still Medic Marines hanging out at the front. They're scooping up for another drop. They could go ahead and drop bottom left. The Nidus is back in place. The spawning pool is being rebuilt, as that was picked off in the main. So might be able to drop there before there's even an ability to have defense forces in place. And this is on top of the problem where Queen still needing to macro up just to catch up, as that top left-hand corner now running. So we got 4 base Terran versus 2 base Zerg. Nidus Canal drops. A Dark Swarm will protect the drones, but does not protect the hatchery, nor will it protect the newly building spawning pool, and more Marines marching their way out. Queen is in disarray right this second. Also going to be able to wipe out that bottom left-hand natural. So that will be it. GG. Well played from Light top to bottom. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Thanks for listening.